I remember I was in the second grade and I had a teacher. She was obese. Her name was Mrs. Williams. Mrs. Williams. I think the kids used to call her Meatball Williams. Mrs. Meatball Williams. Mrs. Meatball Williams. Oh, hi, Mrs. When I was in the third grade, I had a teacher, Mrs. Robinson. We watched the Challenger explode. Really sad. For hours, we sat in a room with 30 kids on a little TV explode over and over again. And I remember they would show little byline deal. She was a teacher. I think that they found her glove in the ocean, and that was really sad. What is heaven? I don't even know. Where is heaven? Is it somewhere in the universe? I don't even know what I think. The thing is, or my real thoughts, are they planted from someone else, from another time, from another place, came in inside, warmed to those thoughts. I guess things shifted for that time. When I turned 10, he wanted me to become a man. He expected more out of me. He expected to be a hard worker, to do what he did. To rip apart machines. There's something I haven't told you. There's something we have a capacity. We have a general built-in monster. That's something I noticed about my father from an early age. And he was chaining the machines, getting angry. He would say things. Christ Almighty. I've been thinking a lot about the universe and my connection or disconnection to it, and I'm coming to the conclusion everything means nothing. That I'm sorry and that I never called you again. I don't know why I did that. It was 14 years ago and you probably don't remember me. We met and for a week we were in love. We made love over and over and over and over again. I don't know why I did that. And then I never called you. I met you and fell in love with you in a week and we made love and it was wonderful. I think that's my problem with the universe. Will you ever forgive me? 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 Here's the thing. When I was 10, I remember I was wearing like blue Hawaiian shirt, you know, the kind you find in a thrift store for 50 cents. And I was sitting on a big rock near the pond where I grew up. And I remember I did something to make my dad angry. And I remember he sat me down that day after he drank a few beers. He had to lie on the couch because his back would... And I remember he talked to me. He told me that I was 10 now and it was time for me to become a man. There was an incident in the second grade that I forgot to say. Once, a boy was teasing me. He had red hair and freckles. And I told him that if he kept on teasing me, I would come back to school the next day with my steel-toe boots on. And I would kick him in the legs until he bled. He said, "You're not going to do that. You're afraid." Well, I came in the next day with my steel-toe boots on. And I kicked him in the legs until he bled. And his teacher pulled me aside at one point and said, "Why did you do that to that boy?" And I said, "I told him I would." So I did. So anyway, I was thinking about the 6th grade. You know about the 6th grade, man. I can't remember the name of the teacher, but she had light curly short hair. Stella. But she liked me at first. I think she did. She really did. Because she had us all come up with a plan for our lives. Really not like what we wanted to do, more or less. How we would treat our wives. How we would family, man. And I think she did this with just a boy. I think that's what she did. Now I'm realizing. Maybe she was going through something hard at the time. Maybe she was going through a divorce. Maybe her husband left her. Maybe her child died. But anyway, I remember she was asking we would treat our wives. And I said I was going to make a lot of money. And my wife would never work. And we would always have servants, and she said that's wonderful.
Maybe you were born in the jungle. I'm sure I've seen you before. It's like you got a river deep hunger. You're full of it, but still wanting more. I know you like to get down and dirty. You like to roll around in your own stew. You don't care if you leave me hurting, 'cause that's just what animals do. There's no excuses, you're so damn ruthless.
I'm not special. Nobody's special. Nothing's special about me. I'm not special. Just went through life sitting still, watching it all fly by, thinking about it, dreaming about it, narrating my own experiences that I didn't experience, and not knowing what was going on, not knowing where I was going. I found myself failing a drug test in the military. I found myself doing so many weird things. I found myself doing drugs. I found myself with a guitar. I found myself with a book, with a piece of paper and a pencil, and all this confusion, all this hallucinations, and all this despair and pain. I started writing. Some was sad, some was
So damn ruthless. Don't know what truth is.
You know, I remember when I was a little kid, and I used to go to a Hoagie Hut with my dad, and the Hoagie Hut was a sandwich shop on the side of a road. The Hoagie Hut was kind of the guy who owned it, he was a local, and junk food, and well, they made cold hoagies are good, video games, games. I remember one day we were eating rolls, not penny candy, but the whole big log. Tootsie Rolls, and he ordered us sandwiches, and you know, we filled up chips and the Tootsie Roll. We weren't really hungry, and I remember we drove towards the house, green pickup truck. I only had a bite of my hoagie, and my dad realized he fucked up having fun drinking with his drinking buddy. My mom would get mad, you know, he didn't do his job. He make sure we ate. I remember him yelling at me and me crying into my crying into the cold cut. And it's not important. I should have done things that no one will ever remember.